become the new investment banking? How dare I ask this question, says my predominantly software engineering audience. Well, we're obviously not investment bankers. We build software to make the world better. We don't wear suits. We don't crunch numbers on spreadsheets. We make a difference in the world, right? Yeah, for the large part, I agree. I'm going to be a software engineer at Facebook when I graduate, bringing internet to the developing nations. And I like to think that my contributions in the world are positive. However, I haven't always thought that. I thought that I would go into investment banking after I graduate, go to business school, and then land in some cushy corporate job. I was so set on finance that I worked my way up to be the president of the Harvard Financial Analyst Club. When my friends, HVAC members, we would all say, we want to do investment banking because we want to learn hard skills, we want to build a network, get our foot in the door of the business world, climb the ladder, speak the language of business. Few of us plan to be investment bankers forever. Why would anyone put up with an 80-hour work week? No, for most of us the plan was do investment banking, go to business school or private equity, and then make a lot of money. We weren't necessarily passionate about valuating companies or pushing numbers on spreadsheets. Many of us had no idea what investment banking was or who Goldman Sachs was before we even started Harvard. Yet all of our role models and the smartest kids at Harvard were doing investment banking, so we followed suit. This is the exact opposite of tech, right? Like, none of these things apply. Many of us, myself among them, started Harvard wanting to do applied math economics or physics or whatever, and then ended up taking CS50, because this is CS50. How could you resist, guys, right? We decided to declare computer science because we want to build amazing things and learn hard skills. We watched The Social Network, the movie about Mark Zuckerberg dropping out of Harvard to build Facebook, and decide that entrepreneurship and startups are cool. We look around and notice that the most successful business people are starting their own companies and being entrepreneurial, but none of them want to talk to us non-engineers. Software engineers are in short supply, and every company wants to hire more of them. So we get good at coding and get our foot in the door. Then we convince ourselves that we want to code because we want to solve hard problems and work on cool things. We might not love coding, but coding can lead to product management or starting our own company. Finally, once we start that company, we're probably not going to code anymore. Mark Zuckerberg doesn't code anymore. But if we learn how to code, we'll be able to communicate with engineers and to understand our company's technical problems and solutions. All of a sudden, investment banking doesn't seem so far away from software engineering. Don't get me wrong, there are a ton of people in this room who love to code, they do it in fun, they build apps in their free time, and that's their passion. But there are certainly a lot of us who wouldn't do software engineering if it weren't prestigious, if it weren't lucrative, if there weren't an abundance of jobs right now, or if we didn't think that we can make an impact with software engineering. What I want to point out is that as much as we techies like to criticize investment bankers for selling out, the pot is calling the kettle black. I used to bemoan the fact that some of the most intelligent people at Harvard were spending their days getting really good at Excel and valuating deals. Now, I spend my days crying about the fact that some of the smartest people at Harvard spend their days trying to get people to click on more links on the internet or trying to serve up more ads to us every day. At Harvard, our job titles might be changing. What's cool and trending might be changing, but our ambitions haven't. We're still looking for the same things: safety, prestige, money, and validation, whether that's in banking, consulting, or tech. We as Harvard students need to become less risk-averse and to learn to take less traditional paths. One of my favorite role models, Sheryl Sandberg, she was at Facebook last summer, and she still is. She had been working for Larry Summers as his chief of staff in Washington, D.C., and then after the Clinton administration was over, everybody gets kicked out. So she's about to make her first foray into the business world. She makes this list of her criteria, and she's like, well, these are the things I want in my first job. And she can get all these things from the McKinsey's and all the prestigious companies. Then she gets this offer to be the first general manager of Google. This might sound pretty sweet, but 14 years ago, Google didn't have any business units. nothing. And so she's fretting over this list, and Eric Schmidt stops her. He goes, "Don't be an idiot. Go for growth." I took this advice to heart. During my junior year, I was a computer science concentrator, wanted to go in finance, but for some reason didn't feel like it was right. I didn't think I was cutthroat enough, and I didn't love valuations. I loved wearing a suit, and I wanted to get into business. But I just didn't think that investment banking was the right path for me. I felt really lost and directionless. So I started looking for other opportunities. I stumbled into this awesome class called How to Build Things and Have Them Matter. And I came up with this idea with my teammates to make sense part of our virtual communication. Like, what if you could press a button and smell hot apple pie or refresh yourself with mint? And so my team ccame up with this idea of the O-phone, an olfactive phone. And at the end of that semester, we were like, this should be a real thing. I decided to leave Harvard, take a leave of absence, and move to Paris and build the O-phone. Taking a year off meant not graduating with my freshman class. It meant ending my presidency with the Harvard Financial Analyst Club early. It meant not hanging out with my blockmates, losing my roommates, and living in a country where I didn't speak the native tongue. It meant spending each day independently trying to figure out how to make a smell come out of that box. This is not a trivial issue. As you all know, this story ends on a really happy note. Taking that leave of absence gave me the space to reflect and think about what I cared about, what I was passionate about. Instead of being buried in the details, I was able to step back from my Harvard experience and figure out, like, what do I care about, what matters? What does it mean to be a woman in tech? It gave me this chance to work on Harvard Women in Computer Science remotely, build our sponsors. It gave me the space to deal with what it means to be a coder and have all this power and responsibility. It also gave me the space to understand that my story can't be the 6 billionth person on Earth was born and died happily, but rather that I had to give back to this community and this world. I wouldn't have gotten maybe that software engineering internship from Facebook that I did last summer. I wouldn't have gotten the Google Anita Borg scholarship. I wouldn't have gotten the Women's Leadership Award if I hadn't taken this time to reflect and do something different. My path is unique, as is everyone's, but I'm hoping that you all consider taking time off, finding your passion, and not doing software engineering. But wait, I spend all my time getting girls to code, getting everybody to code. Why should I be cautioning you against software engineering? Well, I guess I'm not, but I want you to get into and stay into tech, not because it's cool or trending, not because it's hot right now, but because you love it and you want to make an impact on the world the way